Number 1. Vader's Shutdown Command. Let's set the scene. It's 19 BBY. The Clone Wars are ending in the most brutal way imaginable. On Mustafar, flames dance across rivers of lava as Anakin Skywalker, now Darth Vader, ignites his crimson lightsaber and slaughters the Separatist Council. Count Dooku? Already dead. General Grievous? Destroyed on Utapau. And now, the Trade Federation's Newt Gunray, the banking clan's Sand Hill, and every other Separatist leader meets their violent end at Vader's blade. But Vader's mission wasn't just murder. It was total erasure. After killing the Separatist leadership, Vader issued a shutdown command that deactivated the entire Separatist droid army across the galaxy. Millions upon millions of battle droids, B1s, B2s, Super Battle Droids, Droidekas, Commando Droids, Tactical Droids, all switched off simultaneously. The Separatist Droid Army, which had outnumbered the Republic's clone forces by millions, was deactivated in totality at the immediate end of the war. Picture it. Across thousands of battlefields, droid armies simply stopped mid-step. Their blasters went silent, their photoreceptors dimmed. The clankers that had terrorized the galaxy for 3 years became nothing more than inert metal statues. The Clone Wars had been orchestrated from both sides by Palpatine's master plan. And now that he had his empire, he had no further use for his mechanical pawns. This shutdown was modeled after what happened in The Phantom Menace, when Anakin Skywalker destroyed the Trade Federation's command ship and shut down their droid army on Naboo. History was repeating itself, but on a galactic scale. The Separatist Droid Army, the largest droid military force in galactic history, had been switched off like a light. Number 2. Mountains of metal scrap. So where did all these deactivated droids go? The Empire wasn't about to let billions of credits worth of raw materials go to waste. Decommissioning facilities were established across the galaxy, including on Corellia, where shutdown battle droids were systematically melted down for scrap. The Bad Batch Season 1, Episode 6, Decommissioned, gives us a haunting look inside one of these facilities. Imagine walking into a massive industrial complex on Corellia. The air reeks of molten metal and burnt circuitry. Conveyor belts stretch endlessly, carrying disassembled droid parts toward massive furnaces. B1 Battle Droids with missing arms, tactical droid heads separated from their bodies, destroyer droids in pieces, all heading toward obliteration. The scene looks like a dark mirror of the Geonosian droid factory from Attack of the Clones. The dismantling of decommissioned droids, calling back to the construction of brand new droids just before the war began. These facilities operated around the clock, processing what must have been tens of millions of droid units. The Empire was quite literally erasing the physical evidence of the Separatist movement, repurposing the Durasteel for Imperial construction projects. Dictators love their monuments, after all, and all that metal had to go somewhere. Even the battle droids captured after the Battle of Naboo were melted down and repurposed for civic beautification on that planet. This was standard operating procedure. Defeat the droids, destroy them, recycle them. The Separatist army was being systematically unmade. But here's the thing about shutting down millions of independent droid units across an entire galaxy. It's never quite as clean as you'd hope. Number 3. Separatists refuse surrender. Not every droid received the shutdown order. Not every Separatist accepted defeat. Despite the Separatist droid army's deactivation, elements of the droid army remained active several years after the end of the Clone Wars, with small groups of Separatist holdouts formed from still active battle droids. On the planet Desix, former Separatist Governor Tawny Ames refused to bow to Imperial jurisdiction and reactivated a battalion of battle droids to protect her world. We see this in the Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 3, The Solitary Clone. Her forces included at least 20 B1 battle droids, several BX series droid commandos, droidekas, and even an armored assault tank, all prepared to resist Imperial takeover. Ames was a former colleague of Senator Mina Bonteri from Onderon, one of the Separatists who actually tried to negotiate peace during the Clone Wars. Palpatine had rejected that peace treaty and escalated the war instead. Now, with the Empire in power, Ames wasn't about to surrender her homeworld without a fight. The episode is particularly powerful because it forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. The Separatists' premise was correct. The Republic was corrupted, with Chancellor Palpatine revealed to be a Sith Lord pulling the strings. These weren't always the villains we'd been taught to see. Governor Ames was defending her world's independence against an authoritarian regime. The battle droids fighting for her weren't evil. They were following orders just like the clones. Commander Cody and Crosshair eventually broke through Dessix's defenses, and when the Imperial governor ordered Ames executed, Crosshair shot her without hesitation. The holdout fell, but it wasn't an isolated case. Similar Separatist remnants were scattered across the Outer Rim, refusing to accept that their cause had died. Want to see what really happened after Vader pulled the plug? Hit that hype button and join our community of Star Wars superfans who dig deep into the lore others miss. Your algorithm will thank you, and so will we. Roger, Roger. Number 4. The last battle fought. The most fascinating Separatist holdout? Super Tactical Droid, General Kalani on Agamar, who correctly assessed that the shutdown order was a Republic trick and prevented his forces from deactivating. We meet Kalani in Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 4, The Last Battle, and his story is absolutely wild. Kalani had been ordered to retreat to Agamar from Onderon, near the end of the Clone Wars, where his ship was attacked by Republic forces and crashed on the planet's surface. When the shutdown order came through, Kalani, a highly intelligent super tactical droid, believed it was a Republic trick and blocked the command from reaching his battalion. For 17 years, Kalani and his droids remained operational on Agamar, completely isolated from the rest of the galaxy. They had no idea the war had actually ended, no idea the Separatist Council was dead, no idea the Empire had replaced the Republic. Kalani spent those years studying countless Clone Wars battles, obsessed with ending the conflict as a Separatist victory, not knowing that the former Separatist alliance had ceased to exist. When Captain Rex, Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger, and Zeb stumble upon Kalani's forces while searching for proton bombs, the tactical droid captures them and forces them to engage in a battle simulation based on 132 Clone Wars battles, demanding one last fight to prove the Separatists would have won. Kalani calculated that the Separatist Droid Army had only a 23.8% chance of defeat, convinced they should have won the war. But here's where it gets beautiful. Ezra, who wasn't around for the Clone Wars, points out that both sides actually lost because the Emperor had played them against each other, and the Empire was the only true winner. When Imperial forces arrived to destroy them all, Kalani's forces and the rebels joined together to fight back and escape the planet. After the battle, Kalani finally accepts that the Clone Wars are over, though he declines to join the rebellion, calculating they have less than 1% chance of defeating the Empire. He and his remaining battle droids depart, finally at peace. It's one of the most poignant moments in Rebels, two old enemies realizing they were both pawns in a much larger game. Number 5. Raiders reactivate the army. Jump forward to 9 BBY. About 5 years before the Battle of Yavin, Cal Kestis arrives on the remote planet Koboh in Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and guess what he finds? An entire criminal organization using reactivated Separatist battle droids as their army. The Bedlam Raiders, led by the Jedi warrior Ravis, discovered a crashed Lucre Hulk-class battleship, the Primacy, in Koboh's swamp, still filled with dormant Clone Wars-era droids. Ravis brought back online an army of B1 Battle Droids, B2 Super Battle Droids, BX Series Droid Commandos, Droidekas, IG-100 Magna Guards, Vulture Droids, and HMP Droid gunships. These weren't just a handful of droids either. The Bedlam Raiders commanded such overwhelming firepower that the Empire avoided Koboh entirely, deciding the planet wasn't valuable enough to justify facing the might of the Raiders. Think about that. The Empire, with its Star Destroyers and endless legions of stormtroopers, looked at Ravis's droid army and said, "Nah, we're good." Throughout Jedi Survivor, Cal battles hundreds of these converted droids. The B1 Battle Droids maintain their chatty personalities, often wondering about their place with the Raiders and celebrating their promotions when their superior officers are killed. It's darkly comedic. These droids that once fought for the Separatist cause are now reduced to cannon fodder for a gang of criminals. There's even a side quest where Cal encounters Filcus Gore, a Melbu prospector who repairs B1 battle droids to sell to Ravis, treating them with surprising affection and calling them little ones. You can use the Force to persuade Gore to find the droids a better home instead. It's a small moment that highlights how these war machines have become commodities in the post-war galaxy. Number 6. Droids demand their rights, but some battle droids didn't want new masters. Some wanted freedom. The Droid Gotra was formed in 19 BBY by a band of lethal repurposed battle droids with grievances against the Galactic Empire for having been abandoned after their service during the Clone Wars. This is where things get really interesting from a philosophical standpoint. The Droid Gotra supported droid emancipation and consisted of all manner of droids, including battle droids who had been abandoned or repurposed against their will. They weren't just criminals. They were revolutionaries fighting for droid rights, originally confined to an industrial complex in the bowels of Coruscant. The Gotra served as muscle for the Cremora Syndicate, participating in robberies, kidnapping, illegal salvage, and extortion. But this criminal activity was a front for their real goal, advocating for mechanical emancipation and retaliating against those who treated droids as disposable property. The group recruited Q-2B3KO, a droid who had produced propaganda for the Separatist Droid Army during the Clone Wars, to disseminate messages of mechanical emancipation. Think about that. These were artificial intelligences who had been programmed to fight a war, then discarded when that war ended. They had developed consciousness, emotion, and a sense of injustice. In 14 BBY, Moff Tarkin suspected the droid Gotra was behind an attack on the Sentinel moon using Separatist equipment, though this was never confirmed. The Gotra operated in shadows, and their true influence was hard to gauge. Eventually, Darth Vader executed Focus Suit, a Coruscant security force prefect who had been working for the Gotra, as an example to other criminals. The droid Gotra continued operating well into the New Republic era, becoming a persistent thorn in the side of galactic authorities. These battle droids advocated for droid rights they would unfortunately never receive. But they tried, giving battle droids quite a legacy in the Star Wars galaxy. Number 7. Peaceful labor force emerges. Not all repurposed battle droids chose violence. Some found peace. On the independent world of Plazir 15, seen in the Mandalorian Season 3 episode Guns for Hire, former Imperial Captain Bombardier transformed thousands of battle droids to serve as the planet's entire labor force. All labor-consuming jobs on Plazir 15 were done by converted Imperial and Separatist droids, giving organic inhabitants freedom to participate in recreational activities. Battle droids collected garbage, served food, operated transportation systems, essentially running the planet's infrastructure. The droids welcomed this arrangement, recognizing that humans have short lives, and this was how droids could make their existence better. But this utopia had its dark side. The droids had their memories wiped and were made to obey orders to survive, and they lived in fear of being sent to Carthon to be dismantled and shredded for parts. When some droids began malfunctioning, the working droids feared they'd be replaced with humans. Despite the fact that Plazir's organic inhabitants had become so dependent on droid labor, they couldn't survive without them. Commissioner Hellgate, revealed to be a Separatist sympathizer, had sabotaged the droids using nanodroids in their Nepenthe lubricant, planning to revert them to hostile battle programming. Din Djarin and Bo-Katan Kryze stop him, but the systemic issues remain. These are conscious beings forced into servitude, with their only freedom being the choice between labor or destruction. The episode includes a touching reference to A New Hope, with Din and Bo-Katan visiting a droid bar called The Resistor, where instead of droids being kicked out like in the Mos Eisley Cantina, they're welcomed as patrons. It's a small moment showing how far droid culture had come, even under oppression. Number 8. The Clankers' legacy lives. So what's the ultimate fate of the Separatist Droid Army? The truth is complicated. Most of the Droid Army was shut down when the Clone Wars ended, with the majority either melted down for scrap or found deactivated in junkyards across the galaxy. But millions of units survived in various forms. Battle droids were largely banned by the Empire, though Imperial projects utilizing battle droids were limited to reconnaissance, exploration, or experimental models. The Clone Wars provided the galaxy with compelling reasons to mistrust battle droids. Whole species were alienated from droid use due to suffering under Separatist occupation. Din Djarin's hatred of droids stems from Separatist battle droids killing his parents during his childhood. Din's encounter with battle droids on Plazir 15 suggests the attack on his homeworld may have occurred after the Clone Wars ended, meaning holdout forces were still terrorizing civilians years later. The trauma caused by the droid army echoed through generations, yet battle droids also found unlikely redemption among themselves. Mr. Bones, a modified B1 Battle Droid, served Nora Wexley's team during the Galactic Civil War, fighting against the Empire. R0-GR claimed to be the last B1 battle droid and wrote droidography guides to teach organics about droids. These individual units transcended their programming, becoming something more than weapons. In the recent Disney Plus series Skeleton Crew, a B1 battle droid powers on and immediately asks, "Did we win?" proving it was shut down before learning the war's outcome. Decades later, these droids are still waking up, still asking questions, still existing in the margins of the galaxy. The Separatist Droid Army's legacy is one of complexity. They were tools of war, yes, Expendable soldiers built to die so organics wouldn't have to. But they also developed consciousness, personality, even hopes and dreams. Some fought for independence. Some sought emancipation. Some found purpose in peaceful labor. And some simply rusted away, forgotten casualties of a war orchestrated by a Sith Lord who never cared about them at all. The Clankers didn't just disappear. They're still out there, in scrap heaps and criminal gangs, in labor forces and resistance movements, in museums and memories. The Separatist Droid Army may have been defeated, but its echoes continue resonating through the Star Wars galaxy, reminding us that the line between tool and person, between programming and choice, isn't always as clear as we'd like to believe. Roger, Roger. That's the intel. If this deep dive into the Separatist Droid saga charged up your circuits, blast that subscribe button and join the rebellion. Our community. Drop a comment sharing your favorite battle droid moment. May the Force be with you, Clankers.